Can chiropractic help with migraines? Well, chiropractic has a long-standing history of being able to help with migraines, but what does the research say? We're going to go through a paper today that talks all about how upper cervical chiropractic specifically helps migraine headaches. But if you don't have time to watch this video and you've been struggling with migraines, you feel like you've tried everything, then send us a message and we'll get you this information. So what does the research say? This research article is appropriately titled, Effects of Atlas Vertebral Realignment in Subjects with Migraine, an Observational Pilot Study. That sounds really interesting, right? This was published back in 2015, and it has a lot of really great information in it, and I'm going to break it down for you. It has been proposed that a misaligned atlas vertebra creates spinal cord distortion, disrupting the neural traffic of brainstem nuclei in the medulla oblongata, encumbering normal physiology. Okay, what on earth does that mean? I have my model here, and I'm going to show you. So here is, let's get it to focus. Okay. So here is a model of the upper cervical spine. So we've got Atlas C1 right here, and then we've got C2 underneath of it. This orange bit in here is the spinal cord, and this is the cerebellum, part of the bottom part of your brain that's closest to your skull. So if I hold this guy like this, he's facing that way. And so what this research paper is saying, that if this atlas is turned, if it's not in its proper position, and this guy doesn't move very well, but you can kind of imagine if this is turned, that it's going to create pressure inside in the spinal cord. And it's going to prevent your nerves from talking correctly, brain to body and body to brain. Well, that's a pretty big problem because your nerves run your entire body. So the research paper is just starting out by saying, hey, if you have misalignment in the top of your spine, it's going to affect how your body works because your nerves aren't going to be able to talk to each other properly. It goes on to say, realignment aims to reestablish the patient's normal biomechanical relationship of the upper cervical spine to the vertical axis. Okay, again, a lot of big talk. What does that mean? So what that means is that when an upper cervical chiropractor comes and evaluates the spine, if they find that the atlas is causing that neural tension, if the chiropractor finds that Atlas C1 is the problem, then they're going to come, they're going to realign that vertebra back to normal so that the tension that is created inside in your delicate nerve tissues is reduced. And then it goes on to say, the correction theoretically removes cord distortion created by the atlas misalignment. So in other words, what that means is that we think that what it's doing is taking the tension off the spinal cord, but research, despite what you might hear, science is never settled. So this is a constant research topic and something that chiropractors continue to look at because we're working with live people. And so when we make a change, we can see that the patient responds and that they get clinically better. But what exactly is happening underneath the surface? That's continuing ongoing research. And then it goes on to talk quite a bit about how realigning the atlas actually helps to keep the CSF, or cerebral spinal fluid, flowing. So cerebral spinal fluid is what brings nutrients to your brain. It has some cooling powers. It takes waste products away. And when the atlas is misaligned, that actually becomes stagnant. And it doesn't do the job that it's supposed to. And so with atlas realignment, not only do the nerves work better, but also the cerebral spinal fluid flow is better so that your brain is bathed in the nutrients that it needs and the waste products go away and it's cooled and all of those good things that the brain needs. In this study, volunteers were between ages 21 and 65. And the chiropractor that did this study had a neurologist with several decades of migraine experience screen applicants using a couple of the screening tools that neurologists use to diagnose migraines. Potential subjects naive to upper cervical care must have demonstrated that they had between 10 and 26 headaches per month for the previous 4 months, with no significant head or neck trauma in the past year. So in other words, these people had never been to an upper cervical chiropractor before, and they were having between 10 and 26 migraine headaches per month. That's insane. That's hard to live with. These people were then put through the upper cervical process where they came, they got their evaluation, the chiropractor went over that with them, did an initial assessment, looked at post films and made sure that the area, the upper cervical spine did correct the way that the chiropractor thought it would. And then they continued care for 8 weeks. At the 8-week point, some participants were offered to go for a longer study of 24 weeks. And the reason for this is because while a single upper cervical intervention, a single upper cervical adjustment will align the spine and create benefits for the patient, really where we see the most benefit as practitioners is when patients continue with care long term, because what that means is it stabilizes the area. It's not just holding one time, but holding for a long period of time so that the body can completely heal. So what were the results? From the study results suggest that Atlas Realignment intervention may be associated with a reduction in migraine frequency and marked improvement in quality of life, yielding significant reduction in headache-related disability as observed in this cohort. So what does that mean? It means that yes, the research supports that upper cervical chiropractic can help with migraines. This is fantastic news for migraine sufferers, especially those sufferers who have tried everything. I've talked to patients that really have a desperate feeling about the number of headaches and migraines that they're having. And so not only does our clinical experience bear this out, but the research coming out suggests also that upper cervical chiropractic can offer hope if you suffer from migraines. So if this is you, we'd love to help you. My name's Dr. Christy Flick. I'm with HealthWorks, a family wellness center in Plano, Texas, and we practice precision upper cervical chiropractic care. And we'd love to see if this is a good fit for you.